Hello. Sorry to bother you. Can I ask you a slightly odd question?
Yeah, sure.
I'm making a podcast called Strangers on a Bench, where essentially I talk to people I don't know on benches for 10 or 15 minutes. Are you up for that? Do you want to give it a go? Do you have a favourite day of the week?
I like Mondays and Thursdays because they're the days I come to Hampstead Heath. But some of the other days I spend a lot of time writing, and I like those as well. So I think
They're all lovely for you.
yeah, I mean, I'm retired, so if any day isn't lovely, it's down to me.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's it. You're taking full responsibility of your
Yes,
of
well,
your
you
days.
have to, don't you?
So why would you come to Hampstead Heath on a Monday and say not a Tuesday?
I like to give my week a shape. Like on Wednesday, I receive the grocery order, and on Tuesday is the day I finalise the grocery order. I do a stock check of our food. And
When was the last time you made a wild decision on there? Do you like, I'm just suddenly going to get this?
maybe a month ago, when I decided to buy some Biscoff biscuits.
Just went wild for the Biscoff.
Well, for no reason that I could imagine, I suddenly remembered what Biscoff biscuits tasted like, and I thought, I haven't had those for years.
So what were you doing that made you think of Biscoff? Did you see an
Attention
advert for Biscoff? Is that what did it?
No, there was no advert, just some stream of consciousness.
Fantastic. And when you finally tasted the Biscoff, did it?
Yeah, they tasted exactly
you
as
imagined?
I remembered. When they arrived, I cut open the packet and ate one, and then I ate another one, because they're the kind of biscuits that one isn't enough.
That's true. I'm very naughty. I end up eating the whole pack. I can't stop myself.
But you can. I don't eat the whole pack.
You could just.
Well,
eat two and it was
eventually I
fine.
eat the whole pack,
Yeah.
but not in one sitting.
So Mondays on the Heath. What are we doing on Mondays on the Heath normally?
Well, I do the same walk each time.
Yeah.
It sounds boring, but it isn't,
No,
because I'm looking at the same thing time after time. I notice all the little changes,
That's lovely.
which at this time of year there are a lot.
Because it's spring.
Yes, because it's spring. But I mean, even at any season, there's always something is different. The route is designed so that I do one hill, which I think I need for exercise. And I used to do 3 hills years ago.
And now we're down to one.
Down to one.
We're still going strong. We've still got this one hill.
Yeah. I mean, the 3 hills was before I had sepsis and was ill for quite a long
Oh,
time.
dear.
And when you get old, illness isn't like it was when you were young. When you're young, you take a few days off and you're back to where you were. As you get old, where you end up after the illness is not where you were before. So,
How do you feel about being old? You count yourself as old?
yes, I do. In about 3 months, I'll be 80.
Well, happy birthday in advance. Let's make it a birthday party.
Yeah, I mean, that is old, isn't it?
Well, you still got your hill.
I've still got my hill.
As long as you've got your hill, you've got a semblance of youth.
Yeah,
How are
yeah.
you going to celebrate on the day? What are you going to do?
Don't know. Probably won't do anything much.
Oh, come
Probably
on.
do what I would do anyway.
No, I'm not going to allow this. We're going to celebrate.
Yes, I suppose.
What do you dream of doing? What would be a thing you haven't done that you might like to do?
What haven't I done in my life? There's a lot of things I've done in my life that I'm glad not to have done. But for I really don't know. I'll have to think about it nearer the time. Yeah.
Is there anyone you'd like to share your birthday with?
Well, yeah, maybe my sister. I used to have 3 sisters and a brother. Now I've got a sister. That's one of the things about going old. The people you used to know are dead. A lot of them.
Yeah.
All gone. Well, no, I've still
We've got one. Don't forget there's one
si-
sister.
one
Do you get, and so you
sister
get on
left.
okay with your sister?
Yeah. I don't see her all that often because we don't live near to each other.
So you grew up with lots of siblings.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I was born just after the war, and I had 3 siblings who were born before the war. There was a big age gap. Well, my dad was Hitler's guest. He was a prisoner of war.
Oh, right.
So it was like my elder siblings were grown ups. Well, they weren't, but
Yeah.
to someone as young as I was, they were.
So they were on a bit of the same team.
Yeah, I mean, one of my sisters wanted to mother me, one wanted to ignore me, and my brother wanted to bully me. Well, did bully me.
But did your brother stop bullying you at some point?
Not really.
Oh dear.
He's dead now.
Okay, well, at least he can't bully you now.
No, he can't.
How did you feel about it when he died?
I didn't really feel anything much. Maybe a little bit of relief.
Did anyone come to your rescue during the bullying times? Did you feel like you were kind of on your own with it?
I felt I was on my own.
Oh, why was
Yeah.
that, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, my mother should have intervened, but she didn't. I think my mother liked my brother better than she liked me. So
Oh, that's complicated, isn't it?
I think I was her least favourite child.
Why do you think why do you say that?
Well, if she had stuff to pass on to her children, I would be near the end of the line.
Did you get anything from mother?
Well, I mean, sort of birthday and Christmas presents. I guess I got a wedding present. I can't even remember what it was. I can remember what some other people gave me, but not what my parents did.
As a wedding present?
As a wedding
For when you
present.
got married?
When I got married.
When did you get married?
I got married at the age of 30 in 1976.
How did that go?
Not brilliantly.
The wedding day or the marriage?
Oh, the wedding day, I don't know. I mean, my wife became very drunk and we had a great deal of difficulty in reviving her sufficiently to go on the honeymoon.
Oh, God. Even to go on the honeymoon?
We went off later in the,
Oh, I see, in the night, okay.
in the same day.
How did you revive her?
I think someone forced her to eat bread. I was quite drunk myself. I wasn't that drunk.
Okay. And did you make it to the honeymoon?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Where
we
where
weren't
did you go?
to a place called Arnside. I think it's 3 stops on the train from Lancaster where we were living. And
You kept it humble.
yes. The honeymoon was in a hotel called the Fighting Cocks. Now you, you couldn't make that up, could you?
Did you fight?
No, we didn't.
Oh, that's good. Do you remember anything about this hotel?
Huge breakfast. Well, my wife was quite incensed though, because she, as a woman, got 2 eggs and I got 3. And I said, did you actually want 3 eggs? And she said, no. But I can see the point.
Oh dear. This egg discrepancy there.
I mean, it wasn't just 3 eggs, there was everything.
Yeah, there's the whole package.
There was a sort of pyramid of food.
I mean, yeah, how did the marriage go then? Do you think it was a good idea to get married?
I'm not sure. I think that both of us were married for the wrong reason.
What was your reason? What was hers?
The sex and the...
Was that yours or hers?
What? Oh, well, both of us.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, the sort of reasons that we got married were sort of reasons that passed. You know
I see what you mean. There was a lustful connection, but not necessarily a spiritual one.
Yeah. And also, the big thing was she turned out to have fertility problems, and the fertility treatments seemed to be designed to either make you have children or break up the marriage. For example, the doctors got us to put little X's on the chart for when we had sex, which made me, and I probably feel as if there were doctors looking over our shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of destroyed a lot.
Oh dear. Yeah, I can see how that might happen. And so I'm guessing that it didn't work out kid-wise.
No, we were together, I think, for about 10 years.
And then how did you rebuild? What was it from there?
How did I rebuild? Well, I eventually I got a bedsit in Southend, which was the town where I come from originally, and I started writing quite a lot, and I found a publisher who wanted transgender fiction, which I wrote quite a lot, and got paid intermittently.
What is transgender fiction, out of interest?
Based on transgender characters. Yeah.
Okay. And this, when was it? When were you writing about this?
In the 80s, I suppose. Yeah.
So you've always written about transgender?
I haven't. I mean, that was when I started writing about it.
Oh, okay.
I have, there you are, on my fleece, there's a little transgender flag.
Oh, lovely.
So that was another complication in my life.
Tell me more.
Well, I've always felt that I belonged with the girls. When I was at junior school, at playtime, I used to play with the girls. I used to play Fairies and Witches, which was a good game.
What happened in Fairies and Witches, can I ask?
Well, to start with, all but one of the players was a fairy, and one was a witch. And there was two areas on opposite sides of the playground. It was safe places, and the fairies would congregate in those, and the witch would kind of patrol outside, and then someone would make a break for it to get to the other safe area, and the witch would have to grab somebody. After they were grabbed, they would be changed from being a fairy to being a witch.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's a game of the Tag family.
Yes.
It was a very noisy game.
How did the girls feel having you in
I
this?
don't know. At the time, I mean, it felt normal. It felt normal to me. I don't know what the girls thought.
So this is an area that's always been of interest to you in your life.
Yeah.
Have you been able? Do you feel like you've been able to explore it fully? I mean,
Well, I've never fully transitioned. I didn't know that it was possible to fully transition till I was about 30. I mean, which is kind of leaving it a bit late. And also, it's not cheap and not easy. And I've been poor for most of my life. This is another thing. I mean, almost all the work I've had has been poorly paid work that's more often done by women than men. That wasn't a plan on my part. But somehow, my first job was a library assistant. and my last job was working for victim support. And in between then I was a care worker, a cleaner at one time, and all sorts of things.
What job has meant the most to you out of those? Or do you look back with most fondly, you know? When you think...
I'm not sure that I look back on any of them very fondly. The victim support is something that you get burnt out.
So these are victims of what?
Victims of crime.
Okay.
The worst thing personally was there was a victim of child abuse in Welsh care home, and the police wanted to interview him for a statement, and they needed an independent witness, and I was sent in to be the independent witness, and the interview went on for literally hours, and it was the most grueling thing to hear. I couldn't intervene in any way, and that takes a lot out of you.
Obviously, the landscape in the transgender world has shifted lots in the last 50 years, I guess, right? So when you say you were 30 and you realised it was too late to transition, at what stage were we at in terms of transgender life, do you say?
Yeah, I was
50 years ago. So
very heavily closeted, I would say.
As in, what does that mean? You mean you wanted to transition, but you didn't feel like it was possible?
Didn't feel like it was possible. Didn't feel that anyone around me would be accepting. It felt very lonely.
Is this whilst you were married?
Before and during.
Okay.
Can
I ask what your partner thought about this?
That was another trouble. She thought that it was just something trivial that I would get out of my system,
But it wasn't.
No, it's something fundamental about how you are. I don't think she ever understood that.
Did anyone around that time understand you? Like, did you have anyone that you could talk to?
No.
Not one?
I talked about it to my wife before we were married, but no, I hadn't talked about it to anyone else. Yeah, it's kind of lonely. But if you look at me now and you see what I'm wearing, everything I'm wearing is actually women's clothing. This is actually a woman's blouse.
Looks great.
Women's trousers.
It's a great look.
It's a great look. Life is too short for boring clothes.
That's so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
And so,
I come to Hampstead Heath to play with dolls.
Fantastic. Okay, tell me about these dolls. So you.
Yeah, I've got two with me. Let me introduce you to them.
Here they are.
Here they are. This one is Samantha.
Hi, Samantha.
Now, Samantha is my favourite and my bag buddy. I always have her with me.
What is it about Samantha that you feel connected to?
I don't know. There's just something about her. It's like people, you can't really say why you take to one person and not to another. But the other one is Lavinia. Lavinia is named after the person I bought her from. And Lavinia is part of my doll rock and roll band. Scindia Mutiny, the greatest rock and roll band in the world.
I bet they are. I bet they are.
They are. And
you've got how many now?
200 and odd. I don't know the exact statistic.
Is there a limit? Is it? I mean,
I've reached the limit.
That's it. And they're all in your house?
They're all in my bedroom.
Wow, how are they all arranged?
Well, there's a shelf above my bed that I put up myself. I'm not a handy person. It's actually It's kept up roughly on the principle of a suspension bridge. There's nails in the wall and string and support.
Well, as long as it stays up, that's the main.
It stays up, and that's absolutely full of dolls.
One on top of another? How's it work?
No, they're all standing up on their own feet. Some of them have bendy knees, so they can.
Oh, that's handy.
They can sit on the edge of shelves, and I've got a set of shelves that are full of them on doll stands.
So it's a whole world of play with these dolls.
It's a whole world of play.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, look, the obvious thing to say is, I mean, it's lovely to hear you talk about it. I mean, is this, you know, I'm guessing you didn't get a chance to play with dolls as a kid?
Not much. My youngest sister, the one who's still alive, she didn't much care for dolls.
Does your youngest sister now, does she know about your doll collection?
She does. Well, I don't know if she knows how big it is, but she has been with me when I've photographed dolls, so yes.
And so what does she think?
I have no idea. I think she thinks I'm mad, but... So,
Do you think you're mad?
No, I don't think I'm mad.
I agree, I don't think you're mad at all.
I think I have been mad, but I don't think I'm mad now.
When were you mad?
In my 20s.
Why was that, can you say?
I was in and out of mental hospitals around that time, and certainly suffering from depression.
Why were that time in particular?
I think it was gender dysphoria. That sense of being trapped in a gender to which I didn't belong. That it's a big deal, and I never spoke about that to the psychiatrist or anything.
Is that because you feared what they would say? Or?
I don't think I had the vocabulary to talk about it. And in any case, I didn't trust them.
Yeah. How did you kind of come out of that loop then?
How did I come out of that?
Well, at what point did you emerge from it?
Yeah, I actually did a lot of deliberate efforts to get myself back into shape. One of the things I did was to paint a tarot pack.
As in tarot cards?
As in tarot cards, yeah.
Okay. And you painted it yourself?
I designed them and painted them myself.
Amazing.
It was an exercise, both a mental exercise of being able to think about the design and the symbolism, and also a physical exercise of controlling my hands sufficiently to paint them.
Okay.
Because it's quite...
Yes, it's intricate. I mean, it's
yeah,
detail.
I mean, they're actually fairly big for cards, but they're still very small for paintings.
Do you still have that pack?
I've still got it somewhere.
Amazing. So that act of making that pack of cards really helped you turn a corner?
Yeah. Another thing I did was to teach myself Middle Egyptian.
Middle, do you say?
The classical language of ancient Egypt.
And you taught yourself that?
Yeah, from Gardner's Egyptian Grammar.
Oh, amazing.
And which is a big book.
Wow. How long did that take you to learn?
I think maybe a year, 2 years. And that also was the same thing. Obviously, it's a mental thing of learning a language, and a language that isn't very much like English. But there's also a thing with the hands of actually doing little pictures of birds and things, which is quite fiddly.
Amazing. So these two acts really helped you emerge from this,
those two things
this darker time.
Really got me back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you feel kind of any sense of anger kind of at the world that you were born when you were born? I mean, do you ever think, well, if I was born 20, 30 years later, then I would be...
Certainly if I'd been born, say, 50 years later, I would definitely have transitioned. No, I'm not angry about that. It's just the way things are.
How do you think your life would have been? You know, no, it's a slightly painful question, but imagine if you were born 50 years later, so that would make you 30 now.
I'm not certain that it would have been any better.
Yeah. But is that, why do you say that?
Because it wouldn't have been easy. It would never have been easy. It isn't easy even now. And I mean, I was twice the victim of transphobic violence, and I think if I were born 50 years later, it might have been more than twice.
When were those incidences?
One of them was in Kennington Tube Station. There's a lot of underground passages, and there was this group of young men who were sort of jostling me. And
how old were you at the time?
Oh goodness, 40s, I think.
Okay.
No, maybe in my 50s.
Okay.
I used to dress more femininely than I am now. I mean, what I'm wearing now is sort of
quite light,
plausibly male. So, but no, I was actually wearing a skirt at the time, and I don't remember much about it because I think they must have pushed me, bashed my head against the wall of the passage, and I fell unconscious. I suspect that they kicked me when I was on the floor, but I have no memory of that. And the second one was just around the corner where I was living at the time, and I was set upon by about 8 men.
Why do you think they had such a kind of desire to do that to you?
People don't like the other, do they? If you appear to be other, people will blame you for whatever is wrong in their lives. It happens all the time. It's still happening. And
what would you like people? Let's imagine someone's listening to this.
Yeah.
Has never encountered a transgender individual.
Yeah.
What would you like them to understand?
That that person is just trying to be the person that they are, and they need acceptance, and just want to be another person.
And so, did these events, you know, when they obviously they must have shaken you. Did they shake you into pulling back from it at all? Did you go harder? How did you respond?
The first one I carried on as I have been, really. The second one was much more dangerous because it was just around the corner from where I lived.
I see. So you started to fear happening again.
That really did. And only now am I coming out again more than I was. But you see, I've got this little badge with a transgender flag on my fleece, and you know, that's saying I'm here. Yeah. I am what I am, and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much heat. The kind of transgendered, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Do people call it a debate? They call it a...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's become very controversial.
It has, isn't it? Yeah. I feel like
that's
when I was younger, it was less controversial than it is now.
Yeah.
Can you try and explain that?
I think people feel that the world is going wrong for them more than they did, and they're looking for people to blame, basically.
So how does it, I mean, how do you cope now with it all? And, as in what I mean, all the kind of, the fervour,
I
you
don't
know.
have much to do with that, to be honest. I do write, but that's different. I mean, I have a publisher and I write what they want me to write.
So you're still writing transgender?
No.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not.
we're on different things now.
No, well, yeah.
What are we writing now, then?
Transgender fiction is oversubscribed at the moment.
Okay, I see. Of course.
There's-
So what are we on to now? What do you write about now?
What I write about now is spanking and age regression.
Okay. Okay.
Which,
It's age regression.
yeah.
I'm trying to think about what that quite means.
Well, yeah. In the first one I wrote, she thinks she's been offered a job as a teacher,
Okay.
and finds that actually she's been enrolled as a pupil in a boarding school.
Okay.
That was
I see it now. Got it.
it is a fantasy. There's a market for it,
Yeah.
and I actually don't like writing the spanking scenes, but my publisher wants them.
Yeah.
And I need to write to keep my brain active.
Yeah. Take me through your desk. What's on your desk?
What's
when
on
you
my
write-
desk?
Yes. I want a tour of your desk.
Well, it's actually quite a small desk. It's actually a child's desk
Okay.
that's up on bricks.
Oh, okay. Right.
There's a brick under each leg.
And then what's on the desk?
What's
then?
on it is there's actually a lot of doll shoes
Okay.
scattered around my.
Oh, of course, you've got to get all the accessories.
Yeah, I mean they all wear shoes.
So that means if you have hundreds of
and-
dolls, does that mean you have hundreds of pairs of doll shoes?
Exactly.
Correct.
I have more pairs of doll shoes than I have dolls.
How long can you spend just happily playing with the dolls?
Can be hours.
Yeah, okay. I love that.
They're fun.
So I have two daughters.
I guess your daughters play with dolls. do
Well,
they?
one
Or-
of them does a lot, and she's, she can just be in that world for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Dressing them, putting them in different places and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think, yeah, it's a beautiful world, isn't
Yeah.
it? And I just think it's such a shame that like some people would hear, if someone overheard us, just that bit, they didn't know the context. They'd think that's complete madness. This person must be X, 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 X. And actually,
it isn't at all
it's
because
just play.
Yeah, it's just play, and for your daughter, I imagine that she's imagining how her life might be when she's older, because I take it they're teenage fashion dolls.
Yeah.
So the dolls represent girls who are considerably older than her, and actually represent her future life. And for me, it's actually in a way a very similar thing, because they can be a life that I haven't actually had, would have liked to have had. So yeah.
Is it too late for you to do anything? I mean, is there anything now you wish you could do?
I've been thinking about it and I don't know. I was wondering whether to start taking hormones, but I don't know. I mean, at my age, it's probably become dangerous to do that.
But is there anything you could do just in terms of meeting people from that community? Or
I
about
would
your
kind of like.
experiences?
I would like to meet more people, but
Yeah, like I've learned so much from talking to you.
yeah,
And if I was in the position of thinking about my gender and exploring those things, talking to someone like you would be really informative. I think it would be arranging to talk to you. You would get something from them, they would get something from you. I'm sure if you see if you can get involved with some groups maybe or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like there's some fight in you there. you
Well,
know?
yes, since I'm living in London, there really ought to be people I can meet.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some groups. I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
There may even be groups of older people like you who feel the same way, who were born not at the perfect time
Yeah.
to do what they might have otherwise done,
Yeah.
that you could get together with, or
Maybe.
you know, they must exist.
They must exist.
They must. You won't
Yeah.
be. You will 100% not be the only one. Can you think of what would be the happiest moment of your life? If that's too big a question, maybe
It's too big a
maybe a recent.
I've lived too long. There's been too many
Can you
experiences.
think of then a recent joy, a recent-ish joy
recent joy.
that stands out?
Sometimes it's the little things.
Tell me about one.
Well, I'll tell you about something anyway. On Wednesday evening of last week, our toilet got blocked, and a plumber came round on Thursday and said he couldn't do it. We needed a drainage company, and a drainage company employee came round on Thursday and said we needed a new toilet bowl, which wasn't his job. And someone was supposed to come round on Friday and didn't. But on Sunday, yesterday, I phoned up the Housing Association's emergency line and spoke to a nice young lady, and she got someone else from the drainage company to come round, and this person finally unblocked our toilet after Thursday, Friday, Saturday, after 4 days of not having a working toilet.
Oh, God.
And having a toilet that you can actually flush again. I mean, that is
The joy of the flushing toilet.
of a flushing toilet.
Fantastic. So you did a little dance.
Well, no, I didn't. If I do a little dance, it's usually when I'm doing the washing up. Because when I'm washing up, I have an MP3 player in my pocket and earphones clamped over my ears, and yeah, some of the music and stuff it's impossible to stay still to. So I used to dance a lot, but
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I used to go out dancing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I bought myself proper dancing shoes.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I really hope you do celebrate that 80th birthday.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I should.
You deserve it.
Yes.
And maybe, you know, get one extra special doll or something.
Or something, yes.
You know?
Get something special.
We should celebrate ourselves.
Yes.
Well, what have I got left to ask you? I mean, there's a million things I could ask you, really. Let's do this. I often do an interesting game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to close my eyes.
Yeah.
You can either close yours or not. Totally up to you.
Right.
But it helps to picture things sometimes, I
Right.
find. So what I'm going to ask you to do is think back to a room, a scene, a place you were that you can remember in the greatest detail. It can be anywhere. Just, I want you to describe that moment that you find yourself going back to and how you were feeling and what you were seeing.
Maybe from my dancing years, the Bell on Pentonville Road, the Sunday tea dance, and it was a really joyous occasion. It was predominantly a gay thing. I could go there in a skirt, looking pretty, and would be accepted. And there was an old fellow who used to do the sandwiches called Jeffrey, who wore elaborate earrings and a series of hats. One of them was a turban, and the DJ was an ageing lesbian called Jo Purvis, who played a big variety of music. I still listen to a lot of music from those days. Yeah.
So that's where you go back to.
Well, that's certainly a place I go back to it. Yeah, it was a celebration of diversity. Particularly if you were going to be exuberant.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
That's all right.
I've really enjoyed talking to you. Don't leave just yet. I've got one more question for you. So last question for you.
Yeah.
Which is, what are you going to do next?
What, right away?
Well, right away, however you want to answer it, it's totally up to you.
Right. I'm going to walk across there
Yeah.
into like a little wood there. And I think of it as being the enchanted wood. And there's a circle of logs that someone's made, but it's got lots of places in and around it that are good for photographing dolls. And then there's a sort of elaborate bower of intertwined sticks just down that way, and I will go there. And then after that, I walk down another path. There's a bench. It's kind of high above the surrounding ground, and I can swing my legs. and swinging your legs is tremendous fun.
It is.
As any child knows.
So true.
And I'm fortunate in not being very tall, so if you were a great tall person, you wouldn't be able to swing your legs there. But
well, listen, you keep swinging those legs. And I hope Lavinia and Samantha to perform well at this photo shoot.
I'm sure they will.
And good luck.
Good luck.
And happy 80th birthday.
Yes. Whatever I do for it.
You must do something.
Yeah. I should probably have a trifle.
Yeah, have a trifle.
I like trifle.
I like trifle too. You must have a trifle.
Yes.
I am what I am, and you don't understand what that is. I am something much bigger than this body I'm bound to. Am I too late to start changing? Am I too old to keep growing? Am I to wait a lifetime of knowing, but never quite going for what I might want? I'll be who I'll be, and you can't take my person from me, though it's easier to blame someone else than to question oneself.
you.